So to build off of that, right? The rise and fall of Eastern Conference, what do you guys think is the biggest reasons for the fall of Eastern Conference?
I think everyone wanted more. I think me and Mai were kind of cool with what, like I think when we did the Raucous album and everything and we kept going, I don't think, like, I don't know, maybe Mai, tell me if you think differently. I don't think we ever thought then all of a sudden we were just going to, catapult into like stardom. Like we were kind of cool with who we were and what we were doing. At some point, everyone thinks they're going to be bigger. Cage did 100%. He saw like more Def Jux, signs on the street. And like he kind of started hanging out with L and he kind of started just thinking like I can have more. And like he would say, "Oh, for Aesop Rock, I'm doing this and this." And so Cage in his mind was like, "Oh, I should have that being done for me." And that's again, it's all back to that theme. So, I mean, that's all I think it was. Tame never did that, but copyright did. And just like you're saying, copyright said that. But again, if copyright thinks he's in his 20s and he's going to be signed to Jay-Z, of course he's going to do that. I don't know about like dissing us, that was just part of being young, I think. But, that's what I think it was.
Also, having like a 10-year run, like really Eastern Conference was from 96 to 2006-ish. Like that's pretty good in hip hop, actually.
Absolutely.
So I think Eric and I were also like kind of satisfied with what we had done. I was ready to move to Vegas to continue being a DJ for some reason, even though in retrospect, I probably should have grown up then. And then Eric, moved to Philly and had a son and a family. And so I think like, right. Like the two of us were kind of over it a little bit, to be honest with you. Sure, we would have liked to do bigger things for our own group and continued with that. But then we got to with Sound of Marcus. So it all worked out.
Yeah. And then I think that people don't talk about the fact that like Land Speed Records folding, that affected you guys, right? The distribution.
Yeah, the whole industry really bottomed out. And like,
right.
People like Alchemist stayed true to hip hop and kept grinding and it paid off for him. But 90% of the acts from that time aren't really doing it anymore, unfortunately.
And then I remember in the interview you spoke about when you were in Amsterdam with Cage and you guys were at an internet cafe and he showed on Napster that the, Movies for the Blind was already available on there before the album even came out. And that was like a warning to you guys that it's about to change, basically.
Not even a warning, like the actual moment where we saw our business end.
Right. Well, that's what one thing I always said is like, you go back to like B-Boy Document in 98 to be able to sell like 25,000 of those. And then, 3 years later, put something out and you're selling like 200 because those same consumers who were 16 or whatever, 15 and now 18 just are poor. They don't have money. So, unless you're a DJ and need two physical, copies, you're just trying to listen to the song and, everyone changed how they listen to music. So it was, it had to reset itself. The whole industry had to learn what it was doing with itself. And, for me, I was living in Manhattan in 2004 with a $2,800 a month rent. It was over. And like, I could not do that shit anymore. I had a wife, I had a kid on the way and it was just fucking over. And, I'm lucky enough that I was able to do something else. Milo's lucky enough and talented enough that he was able to do what he's doing. So, it's part of life.
For sure. And, I've seen you guys say in the past in other interviews, it's basically like people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. Like the amount of work that goes into helping these artists put out these projects, the investment and everything. And it's not like you guys are a major label where, you're making millions of dollars and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, like, I'm sure on certain things you might have lost money too, you know, like, so there's a lot of things that go into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's an adventure, and we were just glad that we were able to do it, and able to put out a record this past year and still work on shit. So it's dope.